Stop, before you scroll past this. Here's something most men never get told. You've been misreading her this entire time. Not occasionally, consistently, in moments that actually mattered, not because you're not smart or observant, but because nobody ever taught you how women actually signal attraction. And that one blind spot has quietly cost you more than you realize. By the end of this video, you're going to know 8 specific signs that a woman is deeply attracted to you, even when she acts like she isn't. Even when nothing obvious is happening. Even when your brain is telling you she's just being friendly. But I'm also going to show you something bigger than the signs themselves. Why the most genuinely attractive men are almost always the last ones to know it. Before we go there, let me ask you something personal. Have you ever walked into a room and felt completely invisible? Have you ever replayed a conversation in your head wondering, was she interested or was I imagining it? Have you ever caught yourself thinking, maybe I'm just not that guy? If that's you, take a breath, because here's what most people never tell you. The men who question themselves the most are often the exact men women are most drawn to, not because of arrogance. Not because of looks, because of presence, and we're going to unpack exactly what that means. But first, here's something foundational that changes everything once you understand it. Women experience attraction completely differently than men do. Men feel it like a forward impulse. You see someone, something clicks, and instinct says move toward her, direct, immediate. Women feel attraction as awareness first. Before she decides anything, she's already observing. She's reading how you carry yourself, how you speak, how you occupy space, how other people respond to you. And when she does move, she doesn't announce it. She signals it, quietly, subtly, in ways that require you to actually be paying attention. So if you've been waiting for her to make it obvious, to hand you undeniable confirmation, you've been waiting for something that was never going to come. Not because she wasn't interested, because that's simply not how this works. Let's go through all 8 signs. And as we do, I want you to think back honestly, because chances are more of these have already happened to you than you've ever given yourself credit for. Sign 1. Lingering eye contact. This is the most universal signal of attraction, and the one men miss most consistently. Here's how it happens. You're somewhere ordinary, a coffee shop, a gym, a social event. You glance up and your eyes meet hers. But instead of looking away like strangers normally do, she holds it just a beat longer than necessary. A micro moment, then she looks away. Most men think that was nothing, that was accidental, but here's the psychology. Research on nonverbal communication shows that prolonged eye contact activates emotional arousal and signals that you've been registered as significant. We do not hold eye contact with people who don't interest us. The nervous system simply doesn't invest that energy. When someone catches your eye and you feel nothing, you look away instantly. That's automatic. So when she doesn't look away instantly, that's not automatic. That's something else entirely, and here's what most men never catch. She looks back. A few seconds later, when she thinks you're not watching, she glances again. That second look is not accidental. It's confirmation. Think about your own behavior. When something doesn't interest you, you barely register it. When something does, you look twice. You verify what you felt the first time. She's doing exactly the same thing. The first look is curiosity. The second look is courage. She's quietly asking, did you notice me? Ask yourself honestly. Has this ever happened to you and you dismissed it as coincidence? Sign 2. Proximity. Attractive men create a gravitational pull, and most of them never notice it happening. You might see a woman choosing to stand near you when there's plenty of space elsewhere. Someone who joins a group you're already in and positions herself beside you. Someone who consistently takes the seat next to you when other options are clearly available. Most men explain this away immediately. She was just being polite. It was the closest spot. It meant nothing, but here's the psychology. Women rarely pursue directly, especially early on. What they do instead is create opportunity. They position themselves within your awareness and wait to see what you do with it. Studies on the mere exposure effect show that physical proximity builds positive emotional association. By placing herself near you, she is increasing the likelihood that something happens between you. That is not accidental. That is intentional, even if she's not fully conscious of it. Have you been in situations like this and convinced yourself it was random? Sign 3. People listen when you speak. This one is about the presence you carry, and it matters enormously in terms of attraction. Have you ever noticed that when you start talking in a group, side conversations quiet down? Have you seen people physically turn their bodies toward you? Have you felt that subtle shift in energy when you say something, like the room slightly reorganizes itself around your words? That is presence, and presence is one of the most underrated forms of attraction that exists. Psychologists call this the halo effect. When someone is perceived as grounded, authentic, and certain of themselves, we subconsciously allocate them our attention and respect. And this becomes more powerful as men get older. Youth can be loud, maturity resonates. A man who speaks from experience rather than performance, who doesn't need to fill every silence, carries a weight that can't be manufactured. Try this: slow your speech slightly, lower your tone, pause before you respond instead of rushing to fill the gap. Silence amplifies attention. Most people are uncomfortable with silence and rush to end it. A man who is comfortable in silence is perceived differently before he even finishes his sentence. If you've ever experienced that quiet authority where you don't demand attention, but it gathers around you anyway, you already have this. You may just not have recognized it for what it is. Sign 4. Mirroring. This one is subtle but incredibly telling once you know what to look for. Mirroring happens when someone unconsciously begins reflecting your body language and energy. You lean back, and a few moments later, she leans back too. You slow your speech, and her cadence softens to match. You touch your face, and shortly after she touches hers. This is not imitation. This is nervous system alignment. When we feel safe and genuinely connected to someone, our bodies begin to synchronize at a level beneath conscious thought. Mirror neurons in the brain activate when we observe someone we feel drawn to. It is biological rapport. It is her nervous system saying, "I feel safe here." And that matters because safety precedes desire, especially for women. Before a woman allows herself to feel attraction fully, her nervous system needs to not feel threatened. Mirroring is often the first physical sign that safety is present. Here's something simple to test. Subtly shift your posture during a conversation and see if she follows within a few moments, not obviously, just a small adjustment. If she mirrors it, the connection is already deeper than words have expressed. Sign 5. Her compliments go beyond your appearance. This is the sign that surprises men the most because it sounds like just a compliment. But there is a world of difference between two types, and most men have never been taught to tell them apart. When she says you look great today, that is surface level. Physical assessments happen quickly, almost automatically, within seconds of seeing someone. But when she says things like, "I really like your energy, I feel so comfortable around you, there's something different about you that I can't quite explain. I feel like I can actually talk to you," those are not compliments about how you look. Those are descriptions of your presence. And they come from somewhere much deeper. Research consistently shows that emotional safety and authenticity are among the strongest predictors of long-term attraction. When a woman tells you her nervous system relaxes around you, that she can breathe more easily, that you make her feel genuinely seen. She is describing something magnetic that most men spend their entire lives trying to manufacture through tactics and never find. I once worked with a man in his late 50s, a widower, quiet, thoughtful, not flashy, but women kept telling him the same thing: "You're so easy to talk to." He thought it was politeness, but when we looked at it honestly, these were not throwaway comments. These were women telling him that his presence created something rare. He listened without trying to impress. He didn't rush to fill silence. His calmness created a kind of emotional safety that women encounter very rarely. He thought he was average. They experienced him as grounding. There is an enormous difference between those two things. The next time someone compliments your energy or your steadiness, don't brush it off. Simply say, "Thank you, that means a lot," and actually let yourself receive it. Confidence grows when you stop reflexively rejecting the evidence that you're enough. Sign 6. You catch people looking at you, repeated glances, quick visual assessments, eye contact from across a room that happens more than once. Most men either miss this entirely or explain it away instantly. Human beings are hardwired to track individuals who carry composure, who seem grounded and self-assured, who don't appear to need the room's approval to feel comfortable. This is not about physical perfection. This is about presence, and presence registers visually before a single word is spoken. When someone glances at you and then quickly looks away, that quick look away is actually significant. It often means they were caught looking. They registered something they weren't expecting, and their instinct was to not make it obvious. Here's something practical. Next time you walk into any public space, put your phone away before you enter. Shoulders relaxed, chin level, pace unhurried. Let your gaze move calmly across the room, then simply observe what happens in the first 60 seconds. You may be genuinely surprised by how often awareness meets awareness. Sign 7. How other men respond to you. This sign has nothing to do with the woman directly, and yet it is one of the most powerful attraction signals that exists. Because women watch male dynamics closely, very closely, and how other men treat you tells them something that no amount of charm or appearance can communicate on its own. Men are wired to assess status. It's ancient, it's biological. And the way other men behave around you sends a social signal that women register automatically, often before they've exchanged a single word with you. Respect from other men looks like this. They don't interrupt when you speak. They seek your opinion. They introduce you positively to others. They make space for you in conversation rather than talking over you. Competition looks different. Upmanship when you say something impressive. Sudden performance when an attractive woman enters the group. Backhanded compliments. Dismissive jokes aimed at undercutting your position. Here's what most people miss. Both responses signal value. Respect says you're recognized. Competition says you're perceived as a threat worth competing with. Neither of those responses happens toward men who are considered irrelevant. The most genuinely attractive men don't fight for status. They don't escalate or perform. They embody it quietly. True confidence doesn't need to get louder when challenged. It stabilizes. It grounds the room rather than competing with it. When you're in a group, do you find yourself getting louder to prove your place? Or do you stay grounded while others compete around you? That answer reveals more about your actual presence than almost anything else. Sign 8. Women assume you already have options. You hear things like, "I can't believe you're still single." I'm sure you have women texting you. You probably say that to everyone. These comments tend to come up early, before anything serious has even been discussed. And most men laugh them off without realizing what they actually mean. These things are said because you carry desperate energy, And that is rarer than you think. Desperation has a very specific signature. It shows up in overtexting, over-explaining, constantly seeking reassurance, shrinking yourself to avoid conflict, chasing validation from someone who hasn't even committed to you yet. Women feel this energy immediately, even when the man projecting it has no idea he's doing it. Abundance energy is completely different. It's calm, it's patient, it doesn't rush intimacy. It doesn't need the outcome to go a specific way in order to feel okay. And women are extraordinarily attuned to the difference, not logically, energetically. They feel it before they can name it. Here's the irony most men never understand. You may not actually have multiple options right now. But if you carry yourself like someone with standards, like someone who is selective, like someone who is genuinely comfortable in his own life, whether or not this particular woman chooses him, people will assume you are desired. And when people believe you are desired, they become more intrigued. Perception influences reality far more than most of us want to admit. Do you behave like someone grateful for whatever attention comes your way? Or like someone who chooses carefully because he knows his own value? That single question has the power to completely shift your dynamic. Now pause and look back at those 8 signs honestly, not from ego, not from wishful thinking, just from genuine self-awareness. If you recognized even 2 or 3 of them in your own life, if real moments came back to you while going through this list, then you are almost certainly far more attractive than you've been allowing yourself to believe. And here is the part that matters most, the part most men never reach. The men who are genuinely, deeply attractive are almost always the least aware of it, and that's not accidental. It's a pattern with a very specific explanation. Most men were taught to evaluate themselves through visible results. Did she say yes? Did she text back? Did something obviously happen? If the answer wasn't clear, the default assumption was failure. But women's attraction doesn't operate like a scoreboard. It operates like a current, subtle, responsive, energetic. And if you were raised to ignore subtlety, you may have been surrounded by genuine interest your entire life without ever once recognizing it. This is called confirmation bias. Your brain finds information that confirms what you already believe about yourself and quietly discards whatever contradicts it. If your core belief is that you're not attractive, your brain will cooperate with that belief completely. It will find reasons to dismiss every signal and maintain the narrative you've been carrying for years. That's the real work, not tactics, not techniques. The real work is updating the internal story that has been quietly running your behavior. Your identity can be updated. That is not wishful thinking. That is how the brain actually works. New beliefs require new evidence, and new evidence requires new attention. Here's how to start. At the end of each day this week, write down 1 moment of positive social feedback. A genuine smile, a prolonged glance you noticed and didn't dismiss, someone leaning in when you spoke. Don't analyze it, don't add a but after it, just record it. Over time, your brain begins building a counter narrative to the old story. New pathways form. Your identity begins to shift because it finally has evidence to shift toward. And before you walk into any social environment, take 3 slow breaths. Inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4, exhale for 6. Relax your jaw, drop your shoulders. This simple practice shifts your nervous system into a state of connection rather than mild threat. And when your body is regulated, your presence changes before you say a single word. People feel it. They respond to it. You don't have to perform confidence. Your regulated nervous system broadcasts it automatically. Now, here's the final shift, the one that changes everything permanently. When you stop spending your energy wondering whether you're attractive enough, you start asking a completely different question. Instead of "I hope she likes me," you begin thinking, "Does she actually align with what I want? Is she someone I'm genuinely interested in? Does this feel worth my time and attention?" That shift rebalances the entire interaction. When a man evaluates with calm curiosity rather than seeking approval, his energy stabilizes. There's no grasping, no urgency, no performance. And that grounded selective energy is deeply attractive because it is extraordinarily rare. Most men are so focused on being chosen that they forget they also have the right to choose. Selectivity is attractive. Standards are attractive. A man who knows what he wants and is comfortable waiting for it carries a presence that approval seeking can never replicate. Picture this: you walk into a room, shoulders relaxed, eyes steady, not scanning desperately, just aware. You engage in one real conversation. You laugh naturally because something is actually funny, not to perform warmth. You leave when you're ready instead of staying too long hoping something will happen. And across the room, a woman notices. Not because you did something impressive, because you didn't need to. She feels the calm. She senses the absence of neediness. She watches how other men respond to you, and slowly, quietly, she positions herself closer. That is how attraction actually unfolds. Not with grand gestures, not with perfect lines, quietly, gradually, powerfully, and you will miss it entirely if you're still waiting for something obvious. So before you close this video, sit with one final question. If you genuinely believed, not pretended, not performed, but actually believed that you were attractive, not just physically but energetically, how would you behave differently tomorrow? Would you hold eye contact a little longer? Would you stop over-explaining yourself? Would you stop apologizing for taking up space? That shift begins right now. Attraction isn't something you chase. It is something you embody. And the moment you stop chasing it and start embodying it, you stop wondering where you stand. You simply stand firmly, quietly, and the right woman will feel exactly that. If this shifted something inside you, subscribe to Magda K Inspire and hit the bell so you never miss a conversation. Every week, we go deep into emotional intelligence, masculine presence, and what it actually means to show up fully in this chapter of life. Drop a comment below and tell me which of the 8 signs hit you hardest. Was it the eye contact you've been dismissing? The proximity you've been explaining away? The way rooms go quiet when you speak? Or sign 8, women assuming you already have options? Tell me honestly. I read every single one, because your awareness might be exactly what another man needs to read today. See you in the next one.